out there. This is Ryan hanging out with my good friend CR Zarn from up in Minnesota.
How's it going, Ryan?
I am doing fine. Everyone here is sick in this house, but me, the lone survivor, as they say.
Yeah. Well, I've got something myself. My wife works in daycare, so she brings it home whenever it's running around, and it just runs through the house. And
Yeah, my son goes to
seems like it's
daycare.
never ending.
So, yeah, he got sick last week, and then Angie caught it over the weekend. So it's just been kind of a blah week at the house. The turn signal on my car decided to stop working,
Oh no!
which is always fun to drive without a turn signal. I
Right.
mean, that makes it all the more adventuresome.
Well,
Hey
you
Kim, how you
remember the
doing?
hand signals, right?
Yeah. Well, I was like, how do I if I'm making a left hand turn? How do I get my hand all the way out the left? I was like, so I so it works, but it's just got to push it down a lot for it to start working.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I'm trying to go get it fixed probably tomorrow, I think. And then my sister ended up back in the hospital
Oh no!
for an infection. Yeah, it's just one thing after another.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not gonna let it. You know what? I'm not gonna let it ruin my mood because it is National Slurpee Day,
Ooh.
and I can't be sad. I can't be stressed out on National Slurpee Day,
Right.
even though I completely forgot to get a free Slurpee. So that kind of pisses me off.
Right. So here's a question. So
Okay.
it's ending, and we only have icy machines, and they only have red and blue. What's your flavor?
God, between red and blue,
Yep.
we need to ask our guests that question. This is the hard hitting questions you get on the Freaking Austin Paranormal show. I'd
Right.
have to go blue. I'm not. I have to go blue. I
Hmm.
am team blue. I'm not a big fan of the fruit punch. Is that fruit punch or cherry?
I think it was cherry
Yeah, Kim Sage says red.
because
She's
the,
team
the
red.
the blue is like blueberry or something.
I love blueberry. I love blue raspberry, even though it doesn't exist.
Right.
Put a blue in front of anything, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna drink it. You put blue poison in front of me, I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Right. You only
As long
get
as
to
it has
make
the
that
word blue in
decision
it, that's fine with
once.
me. Yeah, Kim says it's cherry. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cherry. I'll mix it up. I mean, I like cherry Coke, you
Right.
know, but my favorite flavor is grape. Grape flavored anything. I like strawberry flavored things too, but I don't really like strawberries that much.
So were you a fan of the grape flavored knee high like Radar was and
Oh yeah.
Mash?
Oh yeah. I mean, I drink anything um grape flavored, and I'm sure our guests who are in the queue right now are totally enjoying our great conversation we're having here. But I did want to take the time. It is National Slurpee Day before we do this. I want to take that time to thank our guests for coming on during National Blueberry Day. I realize that this is a big deal for everybody, and for them to take the time out of their busy day on National Blueberry Day to come talk to us, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, without further ado, because I know they got some blueberry muffin seed. National Blueberry Muffin Day. That's what I meant to say. National Blueberry Muffin Day. I'm going to go ahead and add Chad and Alexis from Rad Paranormal onto the show. What is up, people? Happy National Blueberry
Hi
Day.
guys.
How's it going?
So,
Drowning in blueberry muffins and Slurpees over here.
oh my gosh. Tell you what, it's like Christmas comes once a year. So now we celebrate twice, National Blueberry Day and National Slurpee Day. You can't get better than that.
Right.
So, all right, you heard the hard hitting question that CR asked me to start the show off.
Okay.
Are you red or are you blue?
I'm gonna do what my daughter does and just mix them together.
Oh,
See, I would do that too, but I've had to pick one. Go to my head, it'd be blue.
One, I'd probably say red.
Man,
There we go.
I am outnumbered here. I'm outnumbered. So how are you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good night.
Yeah, so far so good.
How humid is it down in Florida? Is it nice? Is it right
It's
down
like
there?
walking through a wall of water.
God, it is terrible up here in Virginia. It's like I tell people it's like you're walking through the air. The air has a mass to it, and it just attaches to you as you walk through it.
See, we walk out the front door and it's like I'm wet, but I'm not sweating.
Oh, that's
Right.
terrible. It's like, just
Yeah,
take a shower.
It's cooled off a little bit here in Minnesota. I mean, today I think it was maybe top 75. But in the last couple of weeks, it's been just brutal. Not only is the temperature up, but the humidity is at least 50 plus. So,
are there lots of mosquitoes up in Minnesota?
It's our national. That's our state bird.
That's what I thought. Of all the lakes up there. How about Florida? Are there lots of mosquitoes down there?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, we had one summer. It was like this. It must have rained a lot that winter, but we were. I do the investigations at the cabin on 360. We had a bunch of woods in the back of behind the property. The mosquitoes were the size of hummingbirds. And I was like, It was like freaking vampire. You get these giant welts on your arms and shit. It was.
We investigated cabin on 360, and I live in Florida, and I've never seen so many mosquitoes as I did in the woods back there.
Hey, I forgot. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You guys have a good time?
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Nice. Besides the mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they haven't been that bad. I've got an investigation out there on Saturday night. So hopefully they will stay away and it won't, suck us dry.
Yeah.
Is Dennis going to lead everybody into the basement?
Oh yeah, he'll probably go, "What's up, asshole?" as he walks down the steps, like he does every single time. I was like, I do easily just be like, "Oh hey, what's up?" Don't ever use "What's up, asshole" part. I don't want any shit following me home.
Right.
So let's go. I'm gonna start off. Get in our Wayback Machine and learn about how you guys got into the paranormal. Start with Alexis. How did you get into this? Did you grow up with it, or how did you start this journey into the paranormal?
Sure. So I grew up watching all the paranormal shows on TV and reading all the spooky books and the Spooky America, Weird USA, like all those kinds of books. And then a couple years ago, Chad had invited me to join one of his teams, and that's how I got it started, actually hands-on investigating.
Hey, so when you were, I forgot what I was going to say. How about you, Chad?
I got into it back when I was about 7. I had my first experience, which was I was in my room watching one of those. You remember the old Ernest movies, like Ernest Goes to Jail or Scared Straight, or whatever?
My favorite.
Watching one of those.
Suck me, booger lips.
And all the drawers on my chest of drawers started pulling out. So I ran to my mom, and she didn't tell me that she wasn't one of the people that was like, "Oh, it's your imagination, you're dreaming," or whatever. She actually gave me books to read on it, and encouraged me to learn more about it. And from there, it just grew.
I honestly don't know what I would do if my dresser did that.
Yeah, or the fact your mom had like a handbook.
Mm-hmm.
Here, read this. Oh shit! Okay, almost like she was expecting it to happen.
No, she told me stories of stuff that she had happened after that.
Now, Alexis, did you have any experiences growing up, or was it just a purely, watching the shows and that's what got you interested in the paranormal?
Well, I definitely didn't have anything quite as dramatic as Chad's. We had the kind of your normal, after a loved one passed, you either, smell their perfume or, the little things like that are always kind of no explanation for or whatever. But nothing super crazy.
Yeah, I think when you have those experiences, those are just like signs for, because they know, like, they don't want to overdo it, so they're like, okay, well, at least you know that we're here, but we're also, try to scare you. Like when my mom passed away, she knew that if she came to me as a ghost, I would probably freak the fuck out. And so she came to me in my dreams. But it was one of those things where it was very real, but it was more than a dream. She was coming to visit me, even the way she knew that I would be able to accept it. What kind of book did she give you to read?
Oh Lord, I don't remember. That was years and years ago. But she never discouraged me. Like, we'd always go places and I'd, ask about it. And she'd tell me more, some of her stories, or she'd give me what she thought it was, kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Was she into the parrot? Was she grew up with it, or is it something that she just kind of fell into?
I think it was just something she fell into. She was big into, like, very cute one. She was real into, like, sorry, my daughter came in and showed me her pajamas.
Okay.
But she was into reincarnation and all that too.
It's awesome when you have somebody to talk to about it. And you have stuff happening, and they'll look at you like you have two heads. Hey, my stuff started moving by itself. Okay, well.
It came full circle. We went to Kentucky for a family reunion, and the family plot was at like the base of a mountain. And we said, well, let's go check it out. And it was like midnight. So we go up there with our flashlights, and it's about a quarter mile from the house. So it's a decent little hike up there. Mm-hmm. And me and her shine the flashlight up there, and we see something come up off the top of one of the headstones and then dive into a grave. And I turn around, and she's already halfway back to the house. She's booking.
Wow. So when did that happen?
Oh, that must have been at least 15, 20 years ago.
Was your house?
No, it was my great uncle's house.
Okay. So did you have any more activity there when you?
No, not really. I mean, we went looking for stuff, but we didn't really get much other than that. My uncle told us a story. He goes, I'll take you up the mountain, and there's a ghost up there. And when you get out at a certain point and you yell up into the woods, hey, what are you doing? He always says nothing. So he drives us up into the mountains, and he goes, okay, get out and do it here. So we get out and we go, what are you doing up there? He goes, well, what did he say? Go, he didn't say anything. He said nothing. He's like, that's what he says every time.
Oh, that's funny.
Interesting.
Yeah. What was your first paranormal experience you had, Alexis, besides the, smelling the perfume? Something that was tangible that you could be like, okay, this is definitely paranormal.
Right. I'm gonna say I think the first. So when I was just out of high school, my husband and a couple of our friends went and explored this high school that had been abandoned in downtown Melbourne. And so it was daytime. We went in through one of the windows and dropped down a little bit, and we were exploring, and it's super decrepit and old, and there's still all the school stuff in there, plus whatever else garbage and stuff was in there. So it's kind of creepy, and we're walking, and we kind of split up, and one of the other girls and I went down one of these halls that just got heavier and heavier the farther we went. It just didn't feel good. And then we reached a room at the end of the hall, and there was your stereotypical like pentagram drawn on the floor, like the whole 9 yards. And of course that we kind of laughed about it because we thought it was funny. And then we ended up going to the room next to it, which I think was kind of like just a normal storage room. And that room, as soon as it was one of those feelings where you can't even like walk through the doorway, where it just felt so bad, but we're dumb, so we went in anyways. And I remember us both hearing some kind of yell, growl, something from back behind where all the stuff was stored. And I had never experienced blind terror like that, where I didn't even remember turning around and running. But next thing I knew, we were just blindly running away as fast as we could. And she and I were the only ones that experienced it. And, you know, we both remember clear as day what happened, but it just was an awful, creepy experience. I'd never experienced anything like it before that.
I mean, like abandoned schools are creepy to begin with.
Yes.
You know, you're walking in there and your nerves are already on high alert because you're going into an abandoned building that you think might be haunted, and then you get that happening to you. I'd be
Yeah.
I'd be like, there'd be two like Scooby-Doo size holes in the walls. That one,
That's what it felt like.
especially when it catches you off guard. I mean,
yeah, we weren't going in there investigating in any formal way. Like we were just walking around an abandoned place. We weren't going in trying to stir anything up. So it was total blindsided.
Right.
Totally unexpected. But there could be squatters in there. You don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know.
we were just dumb kids.
Especially with the area that it's in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Awesome experience, though. Did that like really juice your like energy to go investigating? Like we're like, all right,
for sure. That definitely made me want to go into more, explore more buildings and explore more, places for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
all the time here, so I'm gonna let CR talk a little bit.
That was kind of like my experience. I don't know if Ryan has told you, but for about the last 25 years, I've done military reenacting. And when I started out, I did Civil War reenacting. And up here, there's not much north versus south. The group I was in actually, the group that we portrayed was actually part of the Dakota Sioux Uprising. And so we were at a frontier fort, Fort Ridgely, which is in Minnesota here. And I had an experience there that was eye-opening. It was like Friday night at like 10 at night. And my buddy and I kind of had been talking about ghosts and all that. And we kind of figured, well, there was a battle here. Maybe we should just walk around and see what's going on. So we did that and didn't see anything. I felt a lot of stuff, and I had an experience with a ancestor that was there. He actually let me feel his pain because he had rheumatoid arthritis. So he actually came over me for a while, and that was interesting. But yeah, like you were saying, kind of give you that thirst for more.
For sure.
It's always that first piece of evidence you get. Like when I first started investigating, we were investigating my friend's house just as a way as a practice investigation, and we actually caught an EVP. It's like when you get that first EVP, and you know that it wasn't any of you saying what was said, and I honestly can't remember what was said. It was nothing like super like life-changing. Well, in fact, there was an EVP was life-changing, but I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was like, holy crap. Because you don't really know, and it's paranormal out there until you experience it yourself. Like you, Chad, you had the drawers moved by himself. That doesn't just happen.
Right.
And you could tell people all you want, like, hey, this has really happened. But there's always a doubt in the back of their heads until it happens to them. Mm-hmm. It's always a fun experience to have see the light bulb go off for people.
Right.
Do you do a lot of public investigations down in Florida, or do you do mostly privates?
We prefer doing like historical locations or businesses rather than residential. It's just easier, I suppose, is the word
Mhm.
I'm looking for there.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing both. Although I do mostly, we do more public or buildings and people. But if people invite us, like they'll invite Dennis to come out if they have a problem to help send the stuff away, and I might join them for that. But we very rarely do private investigations unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
We'll be like, oh, we're not gonna be like, oh no, we don't do that. We'll still do it.
Well,
It's
that's
it can
the
be
same
really
thing
hit and
here.
miss.
Yeah, I think with doing like homes and stuff that opens you up to more that you may not be ready for.
That and liability.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to like go into a house and then be like, okay, spend the night there and ramp up the activity and then leave them with leave them with that to deal with it.
Well, I could always call Father Lampert. I did a show with him. He could come with.
That's true. I mean, like I said, Dennis, he's got all the sage. He does the smoke. He does the saging and stuff. He knows all the stuff to say. And I've seen some stuff out when I've gone with him on investigations. Like we went to a house and we went in the room. Someone had wrote like the stuff you saw, Alexis, had wrote on his closet floor all this like demonic symbols and stuff, and tried something summoned something. Something's like a tongue twister. Someone summoned something. Said that 5 times fast. And it'd been tormenting the family for years. I mean, it was so bad they were afraid to go in the house. And I was doing an EVP session. I guess he was doing an interview with the guy, with one of the parents. And it was me, Dennis, the guy, his wife, and his dog. And the dog started barking, right? And the guy said, Sadie, be quiet, or something like that. Nothing major. And a voice comes through, clear as day. It said, "Shut up, old man." And it was like that. Shut up, old man. And if we had heard that, we probably would have like acknowledged it, but we didn't hear it. And it was, something was pissed.
Be the first one out the door.
So yeah, I think when you're dealing with something like that, you definitely want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row.
At
you don't want anything following you home.
At least have your protection kit.
Hey Shayla, yeah, definitely. So, what's your favorite? What's your like home location when you're down in Florida? What's your favorite place to go down there?
Investigation wise, I mean, we've gotten some good stuff at a local brewery called Hell and Blazes.
And the Crooked Mile.
And Crooked Mile, like Crooked Mile too. There used to be a warehouse kind of attached to the Crooked Mile location, but that's since become another brewery, and we haven't been able to get back in there. We got some great stuff in there when it was a warehouse.
Where in Florida are you guys?
We are in Melbourne. So if you look at Florida, and you look at the right side, there's that little bump on the middle. We're on the bottom of that bump.
Sure. Yeah, I was in Kissimmee in February for a week. So, and I don't know why I came back. I should have stayed.
Yeah, we're about what would you say, like an hour from Kissimmee, Alexis?
Yeah, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Depends on traffic, I guess.
There's lots of history down there. Lots of like old Spanish buildings down there. What do you think is the reason why there's so much paranormal activity down there? Besides it there just being a bunch of old stuff, is it like the weather? Is it like because I mean Florida is definitely a paranormal hotspot.
We got our own energy down here, man.
Yeah,
you've got to have it. You've got to be to survive and live in that climate, that's humidity all the time. It's just got to be like your own little like
the
energy, like you said.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at all the water that you have. Like when we
Yeah.
were down there, we went to Blue Springs State Park, and that is fresh water coming out of the ground 24/7. So
Mm-hmm. That, and we flood real easy too,
Mhm.
especially down south.
And I bet all the energy from the hurricanes and all the people that have been killed
Mhm.
down there,
right.
you know.
I mean, we do have a lot of
Palpable.
history. Like we recently investigated Casadega. Have you heard of Casadega before?
Mhm.
Like one of the biggest
No.
spiritualist communities around down here.
Hmm.
And that they had buildings there from like the 20s that you could tell were from the 20s. Super cool people
Interesting.
down there too.
There must have been like crazy energy in that
Mm-hmm.
location.
Right.
And we got an Airbnb. We didn't do a hotel. The B&B was back from the 20s and 30s as well.
That's cool.
Really cool area, real cool energy down there. I mean, we differ in beliefs a lot, but they're super cool people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's your scariest experience you've had?
Scariest, the one that really kind of shook me was we were at St. Albans, and it was one of our like 36-hour investigations or something. We were there for 2 days, and it was on day 2. And I was coming up. If you've been to St. Albans, you go up into the attic, and the walls, they're kind of, you can just see the studs. A lot of the drywall is just taken out up there. I come around the corner and I see what looks like a gnarled female face staring back at me from inside that wall. And I do a double take, and I like to try and debunk and find a reason why I would see that. And I go over there, and I couldn't find anything in there that would give me like some kind of a pareidolia where I thought I saw a face.
Like a glass reflection or anything like that?
There's nothing there. And so the investigator that I went up with turned to me and she goes, "That's the only time I've ever seen you, spooked and not able to explain everything." So that was probably the scariest. I've had stuff tell me that it hates me, it wants to kill me, it doesn't want me there, but that never really bothers me. It's just EVPs.
Mhm.
Right.
They can tell me whatever they want.
Yeah, I've got one that says I'll kill you, but I'm already at home listening to it. So, and I'm still alive. So obviously, it does not work. That whole face thing, that's freaky. It's like when you see something and it's like, it almost your brain kind of disconnects from your mind. It's like you see it and it's like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? Type of
That's
thing.
exactly
Right.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I was in a house from the 1800s. I work at a heritage site, and I was closing up after a tour one day. You had to walk through the house, close the back door, and then go close the front door. And as I closed the back door, I was walking through the kitchen. You had to go through the parlor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was someone upstairs. It's like, okay. In my head, I'm going through the checklist of there's no kids in here. We don't allow anybody upstairs, so there shouldn't be anybody upstairs. I just looked and I'm like, okay, well, I know you're here. I'm locking up. I'll be back here tomorrow. And I got outside and I was like, who the hell was I talking to?
We had a investigation at the cabin, and we had those old fog machines you get like at Spencer's and stuff. We had one of those going downstairs in the basement, and we had the lasers going and everything. And some reason everybody was in the cabin, and I decided to go next door to maybe pick something up or whatever. But there's still fog in the basement, and the laser's still on. So I'm walking around downstairs, and this is when we first started going down there and stuff. And I was grabbing, I guess, a recorder or something. And I hear a voice behind me going, "Hi," like right next to my head. And I'm like, I don't want to say I ran out the house, but I definitely walked very fast up the stairs and out the house. Because it was like, what you happened with you, Alexis? It wasn't in there for investigating. I was just going to go pick up something and leave. And then it was like clear as day, right behind my head. Hi.
Kind of a similar story, and sometimes it's so crazy when you're hearing it not in a recorder, not playing it back, but when you're hearing it in your own ear, like real, like right there. We had my parents own their own business here in Melbourne, and we've had a lot of weird stuff happen there, a lot of activity. We've had our team plus a different team has investigated there. But before the investigations or anything, the store was completely, entirely empty. And my dad, his name is Mark, and he was sitting at the front counter, or he was walking through one of the aisles towards the front counter, and he heard someone say, "Hey, Mark," but in like a whispery kind of gravelly voice, which we had a customer who had a vocal surgery, so he thought it was him. So he turns around to say, "Hey," and no one there. So, of course he tells us, and we're like, okay, weird, but whatever. And then probably a couple months later, I'm at the counter, same thing. No one is there. We check the CCTV afterwards, no one in the vicinity. And I'm standing there and I hear, "Hey," from behind me. I go to greet this person and they're not there.
Was it just the voice you heard, or did you feel a presence?
Just the voice. Just the voice. But we've had a lot of activity there, just in normal, nothing ever scary, nothing ever, just in normal day-to-day activity. Another time, my dad was walking down this hall that had shelves on one side and a wall on the other. And as he's walking by, it felt like something grabbed his pant leg as he was walking by. And the place in the wall where that happened, there used to be a door there, but it was since closed up and rerouted through a different door. But it felt like somebody just kind of grabbed his pant leg as he was going by.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of EVPs and stuff and we hear it all the time. It sounds like someone is sweeping upstairs, because upstairs is a big storage area. And prior to us being there, back when the building was first built, it was a movie theater. And it has two theater rooms. And above where all the machinery and stuff was stored, part of that was an apartment. And the groundskeeper, janitorial, whatever you want to call him, he lived in the little apartment up there. And that's who we figure, best guess, maybe that's who it is. But he just sweeps up there and makes all kinds of shuffling noises and all kinds of stuff. Just
going through their daily routine.
Yep, exactly. We got a laugh up there one time. It was a different team that came in, and they were done with their session and everything, and the guy was on the other side of the room. There was a recorder still left over on the other side, and he said, I can't remember what he said, but he said a joke or said something, and the EVP or the recorder on the other side caught a laugh when no one was over there. So nothing, all very interesting, but it's always very friendly and kind of mischievous stuff that happens. So it's fun.
Well, that's kind of with me, working at that heritage site, and I've sent Ryan some EVPs, and I really hit and miss for me with EVPs. It seems like I really don't. I'm just starting out, probably not doing something right, but I was in the one-room schoolhouse, and we did have kids on site at that time for a tour, but they were on the other side of the property. And I was just, as I was going around that day closing up, I, put my phone out and did a little EVP session in every building. And it was funny because I was like, I didn't listen to it. I sent it to Ryan, and he's like, "Dude, there's kids in the background." I was like, well, I know I had kids there, but, and then I listened to it, and it's kids laughing and playing while I was recording. And that's the only, your head, for me, I like to debunk things like Chad does. So I've always got that going where I heard this, but it could be this, or it could be that, where it was like in my head at that time, I was like, okay, there were kids on site, but they weren't making noise enough, and I had the door to the school shut, and it sounds like they're right there. So
it really does. It sounded like they're just outside the window playing. So I was like, are you sure that there are no kids around me? How big was the property that you were on? There's no way for you to be able to pick up anything like that.
No, I mean, it was probably more than 2,000. The kids were probably about 200 to 300 yards away from me. So, I mean, no matter how hard they would scream, and there was wind going from, into their direction. So their voices wouldn't have covered. But yeah, it was interesting.
I'll definitely see how maybe you can send it to Chad or Alexis, because it does sound like they were just outside the window.
Yeah.
And it's cool to get those kind of like those EVPs,
Right.
Residual. I was trying to think of the word. I couldn't think of the word. I was trying to stall for residual EVPs. Finally got it. My brain's cut off right now. So what do you guys do? Like, how do you guys prepare for an investigation? Take me through all the steps you go through to between like beginning to the end.
We typically get some history on the location first to figure out, what if something's happening, what it could be. We get the claims. We go through and we try and find natural causes for the claims first thing. See if we can recreate whatever happened. And then we just, we sit there and we investigate. We use our spirit boxes, our recorders, our K2s, the IR cameras, all that fun stuff. And then from there, we review and debunk and then present to the owner or establishment. Or if we're doing like a historical location, we just do it for ourselves.
Do you have any like pumped up music to listen to on the way to an investigation? What kind of stuff do you
No,
get,
we just sit there and make fun of each other.
Like I know when I used to do the all-nighters, I'd be drinking like Red Bulls and Pixie Sticks.
Oh my God, Pixie Sticks. I haven't snorted one of those in years. I mean, did I say that?
Yeah, you said it out loud. You said the quiet part out loud. So what's your favorite piece of evidence that you've captured, Alexis?
Well, I think my favorite activity I ever got, unfortunately, I didn't record it. I have my phone right there. I didn't record it. But in that same business, my daughter, who was not quite one yet, was playing peekaboo in one of the offices with somebody that wasn't there.
Wow.
So, and my dad again was there with me, and we just sat, we looked at each other, and we looked at her, and we didn't say a word, and we just watched her, and it went on for a couple minutes. And I wish that I would have recorded it, but we were so just like awestruck. I didn't record it, didn't do anything. We're just sitting there watching it happen. But that I think was my favorite.
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to the whole like detached. You don't think about what's happening at the moment. You're like, and you don't think about, I gotta get my phone out. I've got to look at this. You got to record it. I'm just sitting there with
my jaw on the
floor, like. And by the time you got your phone out, they would have stopped, and you would have. It was probably just for you to witness. And if they had seen you do something to record it, it probably would have ended.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
I sent you that EVP, Ryan.
Okay. See, I don't know if I can. Let's see. I might send it to them on the. I don't know if they'll be able to hear it too well on here. Let me see if I can play it on my phone here. Yeah, it's too light. I can barely hear it myself. So I'll send you a copy of it. But it's really interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. It's an awesome piece of evidence. So what do you guys do?
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. No.
Chad and I had an interesting kind of interaction with a child at the Grant train station in the upstairs part. It was kind of funny because we were using a couple different toy sensors. One was a bear, right, that either had lights or music if something.
I think it was a Boo Bear.
Yeah. And then you were playing a cartoon on your phone, but it was a cartoon kind of for like little kids. It was a bear. We were kind of like sitting low on the ground, as if it was a young child. And we weren't really getting a whole lot. And then something kind of spurred us to change it. And so Chad changed it to more of like an older kid show, and we kind of changed our approach. And then we really started getting more activity. So it was funny. This kid was probably irritated that we were treating them like a baby.
So you said you were at a train depot. That kind of tickles my fancy because I do model railroading. Can you tell us more about that experience?
It's a restaurant now.
Okay.
It was a train station, and then it was kind of a general store, and then it had like a deli in it, and it was like that for a long time. And then probably the past maybe 10 years is when it turned into a restaurant.
And there's 3 big things on that property too. They have that big barn, and then there's the more wedding venue thing on the other side. We got some stuff there too.
Yeah, it's a very interesting place.
Good food too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rib City.
5 out of 10 ghosts approve.
Here we go. Yeah, train depots are another location that are usually pretty active.
We have another one similar too. It was a train stop called Ashley's down here that's pretty well known to have stuff in it. Again, right off the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was with the site that I worked at had a train depot from the 1800s, and every time I went in there to interpret, it was just busy. Like people were going through their daily thing. I mean, it wasn't. Instead of hearing voices, I sense things a little bit more, so I can sense a situation. And I didn't sense that it was dark. It was just happy and light. But people were, it was like, hey, don't bug me. I got stuff to do today. So
it's almost like the people who go to these depots who are traveling up and down the railroads. They're there for a brief time, but they're leaving their imprints on the building and all this energy. People are happy, they're sad. It's like all this energy in one location. And like you said, it's recorded history in the building, and you go there and you're able to pick up little something from it.
Right.
Yeah, CJ Momo Marie said CR's train station is nuts. So many spirits coming and going. I'm sure it's with every train depot, for you guys down there, or I investigate up at the Exchange Hotel, the depot up there where they would drop off the bodies up in Gordonsville. It's just or even I know train stations, probably a lot of spirits in abandoned airports as well.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how it would be fun to investigate like Disney World or something like that.
Oh God, I wish.
That would be.
There's so many stories there. Like what is it?
Right.
Pirates of the Caribbean. There's George. If you talk smack about George, the ride shuts down.
There's I don't know if they've seen anything, but the Matterhorn, they've had incidents there. I think someone stood up on the ride when they were on LSD and no more.
Yeah, don't ride a Matterhorn on LSD. Don't ride anything on LSD. Don't go to park on LSD. There was one chick, the one girl, sorry, but she got crushed by the Carousel Progress. She got stuck in between the thing I think that would happen back when it was in California though. But I mean, just there's so many abandoned parks down there.
Right.
It would be fun to go out and investigate.
Well, look at Six Flags New Orleans.
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
You said
Yeah,
Six
yeah.
Flags. I knew exactly where you were gonna say.
Yep. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fun. It would be cool to see. It's cool to explore. Like, you know, you were exploring the abandoned high school
Mhm.
down there. You know,
That building, unfortunately, was demolished.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that was another well-known one we had down here too. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it got broken into. And I
yeah,
think I
Yeah.
got tired of it.
it got into pretty rough shape after a while.
Mhm.
Right.
do you guys still have a lot of abandoned parks down there, or was it lots of just like once it's gone, they start?
There's not much abandoned
building
anything
back
around
up
here
again.
anymore. They're building stuff wherever they can find land.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We have an old, probably 5-10 minutes from where I live in Farmington. We have a disused munitions plant. So in World War II, there was, pardon me, there was the Army built a munitions plant just south of Farmington and Rosemont. And the funny thing about it is they built it and it was running for like 2 years, and then the war ended and they shut it down. But I used to go there as a kid, and I haven't been there in years, but I never really felt anything. It was more of a place to adventure around. Everybody would go out, you know, that would be your thing on a Friday. So all the kids would, you know, grab a 6-pack from whoever and go out and go 4-wheeling or whatever. But I never felt anything off there, but there was just energy. Like, again, you know, busy. People were doing things. It was for the war effort, but it's an interesting place to check out.
So what do you have, guys? What do you guys have coming up? Any big investigations?
Nothing big coming up right now. Still in planning the next big one. The last big one we did was Casadega, and before that it was St. Albans.
I love St. Albans.
That's one of my favorite places.
Great. It's a great place. I was up in the suicide bedroom. I was doing a public investigation, and you're doing the God, I can't even talk tonight. I can't even think. Burst sessions. I want to say speed up EVPs. That wasn't right. Burst sessions, and we're up in the end of the hallway, the suicide hallway, the bedroom at the end of the hallway. And I get an EVP of you know how you hear like a bunch of like people talking at once, but it sounds like one voice.
Mhm.
You know, it was a bunch of female voices all in one saying, "We attack you." And yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I didn't get attacked,
Well, that's good.
but yeah, yes, that'd be a whole different story.
Right.
So, all right, start with Alexis, and then we'll go over to Chad. What top 3 paranormal locations, like your paranormal bucket list? What would they be?
Oh man. Well, I definitely want to go to St. Albans because I've heard so much about it from Chad all the time. So that would definitely have to be one. I would like to go back to St. Augustine. I was very young when we went, so I would like to go back.
So stick that on the calendar.
There you go. Man, I have to think about the third one. I have to think about it.
We'll come back to you. How about you, Chad?
Top 3 that I would like to do. There's Waverly is one. We haven't done that one. Locally, I'd like to get onto like the Kennedy Space Center, like the launch pad things.
Ooh.
I've heard from people that have done security around there that it feels crazy there.
They have a secret room underneath the Apollo launch pad. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. And then 3, I guess, mainly because you mentioned it earlier, Disney World would be really cool. So those would be my top 3 that I'd like to do.
Did you figure out your last one, Alexis?
I am trying to remember what I have it in my brain, and I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was that island that they sent when people would get the plague. They would
Pavilion
send them.
Island?
Pavilion.
Yes,
Pavilion
yes,
Island out in Italy.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah, that was freaky. I watched the Ghost Adventures episode out there.
Yeah, no thanks.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think
No,
there's
thank
just
you.
so much happened there, and it's such a small place. It's so contained. It's so concentrated in one little area.
Right.
And
Yeah,
once you're there, you're stuck. You can't go off. You can't leave. You're there.
I'd be so paranoid the whole time. Be like, are they really going to come back and get me?
Yeah, right.
You know, I'd be wanting to enjoy myself and really get into this stuff. And I pack in mind, I'm like, how do I know these people on the boat? Are they really going to,
Right.
you know, they're going to leave me here stranded?
So Ryan,
Yeah.
what would be your top 3, Ryan?
God. Well, I got to go. I'd go to Pavalia, even though I'd be paranoid the whole time. It'd be fun to go to.
Mm.
God, I don't know. Put me on the spot.
See? It's hard.
It's hard because you almost feel like it's like you're like it can just name off any 3 locations.
You're on Jeopardy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I'm like, is it really?
You got the Island of the
I mean,
Dolls too.
The Winchester
Oh,
Mystery
no.
House.
See, I can't.
Ooh.
We can't do the Island of the Dolls, Chad. Too many spiders.
Yeah, there are a lot of spiders.
Mm.
Winchester Mystery House because Angie wants to go there.
That would be cool.
I'd let the
Yeah,
other just walk
it'd be fun.
around.
Yeah, it'd be fun just to explore, then not hopefully not fall off.
Yeah.
Door to nowhere. And I roll with you, Chad. I would join you at Disney World just because it'd be a fun place to investigate. You know, the most magical place on earth, right? There got to be some kind of activity up there.
Yeah.
So,
how
how about you, CR?
I think for me, there's a mine up in Ely, Minnesota called the Tower Sedan mine, and that's where they got a lot of the taconite or the iron ore to ship to steel mines. And I've actually taken the tour. I think that would be interesting. You're a couple thousand feet deep. So that would be another thing where it's like, okay, if something's here, I've got like a 10-minute elevator ride to get to the surface.
Yeah.
So I think Tower Sedan. I was thinking Queen Mary because I'd like to go back. I had some experiences there. And then I am thinking probably like a decommissioned military base, I think would be interesting. There's a lot of them around. But I think that would be interesting, just especially with, all the things that went on.
I lived in Germany. We actually, well, it wasn't an investigation. It was a school trip. We went to some of the old battlefields and the old forts and all that.
I'll bet like investigating like Normandy or, or like a Battle of the Bulge took place.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you have all the Civil War battles up here.
Town of Foy.
Yeah. I went out to Cold Harbor just with Angie, and we were with our kids, and we were in our car, and we stopped off at a little caveat parking lot thing, and we started asking questions. We break out the Necrophonic app, and we start getting responses like intelligent responses, like, so what happened out here? And the voice comes through. It's in the museum. So I guess we're talking about the Welcome Center and stuff, or where are you from? I'm from Virginia, stuff like that. And that's, just imagine just going to some place like the battlefields of World War I.
Right.
All, it's got to be so much activity.
Bellow Woods, Flanders Field. That would be interesting.
So we've got 3 minutes left. So I want to give you guys a chance to talk about what you guys like, how people can get in touch with you, how they can see what you're doing, and talk about your group.
So, like everybody already knows, we're Rad Paranormal. You can get in touch with us through Facebook, Instagram, our website, which is radparanormal.com. Yeah, that's how they get a hold of us, and they can check what we're doing out.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and talking to us tonight. I definitely want to have you back on. We have some more stuff we could get into. And yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Alexis, and thank you, Chad.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Interesting.
You know? Thank you for coming on. Hey, Lois.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you, CJ Momo, Howie, Rhonda, who will be with me next week, Shayla, Rachel, everyone who joined the show tonight. I appreciate it. What do you have coming up on your show?
Oh, for Friday. So we're going to be talking about medical billing and coding. My co-host Adrian actually teaches medical billing and coding at the Dakota County Technical College. So we're going to be talking about what it is, how it's used, why we have it, and then on the other side of that, we're going to talk about what it's like to have it as a career, to work in that area, because that's important. We need a lot of people to do that. And, you know, there's interesting things that you can see like that. Like when she worked for the company, she worked with the Native American reservations. So she got to go out east to see all the interesting Cherokee and Navajo and all that. So that's what we're talking about next week. And then the 2 weeks after that, we're going to be talking about the United States Forest Service. The first weekend, we're going to be talking about wildland firefighting. And then the weekend after that, we're going to be talking about being a park ranger in the USFS.
With all the Canadian forest fires that have been going on, having a show about wildland firefighting would definitely be something that people would need to tune into for sure.
Right.
Thank you for using Blog Talk
We'll be
Radio.
talking to Dan, my dad. He was a Forest Service firefighter when he was in college.
Nice. That's awesome. That'll be fun. I'm going to be on Spirit Talk with Jade on Sunday.
Nice.
So that'll be a fun show. And then back here with let's see who we have next week. Rachel and Kevin.
It's always fun to co-host because you really don't have to do anything. You just show up.
Yeah, it's fun. Plus you get to ask questions, and plus we get awesome guests. Like I think I like these shows because it's more of a Blog Talk just cut off. Right. It's more of like an introductory type thing. That's right. You want to get into nitty gritty with the guests, when you have them back on. So, anywho, I'm going to get off of here.
Alrighty.
Look forward to your show.
Yeah,
on
no
Friday.
problem. It'll be fun.
And we'll be back here. Same freaking awesome time. Same freaking awesome channel. CR, thank you, my brother. Have a good night.
You are welcome, Ryan. Tell everybody I said hi.
I will do that. Take care.
Yep, you too.
Bye. Oh, do that.